There are two ways that people respond usually to crisis. And I will tell you that adversity doesn't build character. It reveals it. It may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. That phrase can give you so much power over your life and so much power over your business if you're willing to adopt that. It's not my fault, or it may not be my fault, but it definitely is my responsibility. This monologue is in reference to my new book, An Insider's Guide to Business: Secrets from an Entrepreneur's Journey. It's available on Amazon. I'd love for you to pick it up. All proceeds go to charity, by the way. All proceeds from this book go to charity. But I'd love for you to pick it up because I've written it to just get down to the core tenets of how to build, grow, scale, and monetize your business, but in a way that is repeatable. So you could do it time and time and time again for business A, B, C, or just your current business. And one of the core tenets in this book, chapter 4, is around, it may not be my fault, but it's my responsibility. And right now, no matter who you are listening to this podcast, you have to admit the world is being swept up in this mentality of a victimhood mindset. Everyone's a victim. Everyone is triggered. And I'm not getting political. I'm just stating the facts. And I shouldn't say everyone, right? Because that's perception. That's not data. There is a large faction of people who feel they are the victim. They've been taken advantage of. The system is against them. Whatever. My life's against me. Everything in my life, I'm a victim of. The government, I'm a victim of the government. I'm a victim of Wall Street. I'm a victim of my employer. And that is a really helpless way to live your life. In fact, that to me is probably the saddest life one can live, is the life of a victim, because you have no power over your life. You have no control over your life because you've said, I'm a victim. I don't have control. I can't change my life because I'm a victim of these circumstances. And we've all read how self-made people and these athletes that come from nothing and work their tail off to make it into professional sports and didn't allow their background or from where they came affect that. We all have seen self-made businessmen and businesswomen who came from nothing and could have said, well, I'm a victim of my circumstances and how I grew up, but they refused to accept that. They refused to accept that and challenge themselves to be better, to get better, to be the best they possibly can, because they admitted, hey man, the circumstances in which I grew up, that's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. And so here's what I'm going to do about it. So if we take that as kind of the jumping off point, to take full responsibility, you have to manage your ego and approach challenges with humility. I'm reading this right out of my book here. And to say that one more time, it changes the perspective in which you'll attack a problem or a situation. To take full responsibility, you must manage your ego to approach challenges with humility. With humility says, I screwed up. I'm not sure what to do. I'm going to find the answer out. I'm going to seek out mentors and people to help me, but I am going to take responsibility for this. I'm going to take responsibility for myself. But I am going to get help, and I'm going to ask for that help, and I'm going to ask generously for that help, and I'm going to set my ego aside, because not asking for help, the only reason you wouldn't ask for help is your ego. Your ego is getting in the way of you being ultimately successful. And that means it's getting in the way of you helping your company grow, helping your department grow, helping your family be the best family that it can be, whether you are the head of the household or you're just a member of the family. If you're listening to this and you're a teenager in your family, you can still help the trajectory of your family in the right direction by taking responsibility for things and never saying, well, that's not my fault, or that's not my problem, or my sister did that, or my brother did that. That's fine. Taking responsibility for it takes the ego out of it. And when you do it with humility, that's when you start to grow. And ego is fragile by nature. And because it's fragile by nature, it drives imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, of course, is when we feel like we don't deserve to be here. We're over our skis. We're we're in too deep a water for our experience or our abilities. That is driven by the ego, which is very fragile. When we can let go of that and say, yeah, this is a new role for me. This is a new school for me. This is a new relationship for me, whatever. I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to take full responsibility for being the best person I can and showing up the best way I can in this job, in this school, in this course, in this relationship. And when you set your ego aside, when you actually set it aside, that is when you're going to see the most personal growth, and the people around you are going to see that growth. I've been through situations, and I can tell you where I've just made the wrong decision in business, or I have made what I thought was the best decision, but it wasn't. And I've just stood up in front of my team and I've told them, I made a mistake. My bad. I own this. Ultimately, I own this. And we're going to fix it. And I need your help to fix it. And when you do that, and when your team sees a leader step up and own something that may not even be their fault, maybe it is, but maybe it's not, but you just own it, and you own it authentically. It has to be authentic and genuine. And when you do that, your team sees, okay, there's a real human being in front of me. I want to rally behind this human being because he or she is admitting that they're taking responsibility and they've asked for my help. Okay, I'm in. Let's go. It's when the leader tries to pass blame, when the leader tries to ascribe blame, that's when you lose your team. Now, look, we definitely need to go back and find out what happened. And there will be time to find out, what caused this or even who caused this. And there may be some performance management or even some, radical corrections that need to be made. But at first, we need to solve the problem. And that's taking responsibility. Too often is, how did this happen? Who's responsible? You know what? Let's figure that out after we solve the problem and after the leader takes responsibility that under his or her watch, this happened. Now, it may have happened down the line, and we'll get to that. But first, take full responsibility as the leader. You will change the trajectory of your business and of your company. One other thing I want to leave you with on this is there are two ways that people respond usually to crisis. And I will tell you that adversity doesn't build character. It reveals it. Adversity doesn't build character. It reveals it. And what you'll see is when people are faced with the same challenge, some will rise to the occasion and some will curl up in a ball. And I saw this actually during COVID. I of course, own Rockbox Fitness, the franchise, and we have 60 or so open locations now. And during COVID, I think we had 25 open locations or so during COVID. I saw our owners, our franchisee owners, rise to the occasion. And I mean to the person, rise to the occasion and service their members remotely because they couldn't do it in person when everything was locked down and we were closed. But through an online portal with nutrition, with goal setting sheets, with workouts if you had weights, workouts if you didn't have weights, doing live Zoom workouts from the studio, beaming into the homes of the members. And to take that to an extreme, one of our franchisees out in San Diego, California, and California was locked down for a long time during COVID, instead of doing what every other gym owner in what we saw most gym owners do in the California area is just shut their doors and wait for the government to tell them what to do, and just sit there and curl up in a ball and wait for somebody to come rescue them. Well, I can tell you, no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to save you. Sure as heck not the government. So our franchisee in San Diego, what did she do? With the blessing of nice weather in San Diego, she was able to move her studio, her gym, and a lot of the equipment out into a parking lot. And she rented a fence, she called National Rent a Fence or whatever, and put up a chain link fence around part of the parking lot, got a permission from her landlord to do so, moved her gym outside during the day and would hold classes outside, which was a legal way to do that. It was legally acceptable in California to exercise outside, just not indoors. And so she just decided to move her studio outdoors because she's a winner. She's just going to continue to win. No matter what's happening in the world, she's going to figure out a way to win because she said, COVID's not my fault. Lord knows it's not my fault. But keeping my members healthy, keeping them in shape, keeping my business healthy and my business profitable, that's my responsibility. And she took full responsibility. COVID's not my fault. keeping this sucker going and helping my members that I promised to help through good times and bad, that is my responsibility. And she took full responsibility and grew her business in COVID. Think about that. She grew a group fitness business, group exercising around a lot of other people. She grew that business in COVID because she had members from other gyms in Southern California who were closed and didn't communicate with their members. They just said, "We're waiting for the government to tell us what to do." Those members sought her out and found her and joined her studio while they were working out outside. And then they stayed. A lot of those members stayed when they were able to move back inside. That's a person taking full responsibility for her customers, for her employees, for her business. It's wonderful, just story to hear. And I love telling it because it's how a real, true winner operates. It's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. I'll leave you with this. Success is a choice. Success is a choice. Extreme ownership is a choice. Both are choices great leaders make time and time again. There's always a little bit of luck involved in success. Usually there's a lot more hard work. Like the luck to hard work ratio is like 95 hard work, 5 luck. But little luck doesn't hurt. But great successful people make a choice to be successful. They make a choice because they say, it's my responsibility for my business, my family, my community to be the best they can. And I want to be a leader in that community, in my family, in my business. And I make the conscious decision every day to be successful and to take extreme ownership. And when you do, because I found when I do, your business will grow. Hope that helps. Thank you for tuning in to the ThriveMore podcast. Don't forget to take a look at the show notes for any of the resources that we mentioned during the podcast. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you have access to the latest and the greatest. You can connect with me on any of the socials at Real Roger Martin. And be sure to check out our website, ThriveMoreBrands.com. There you'll find information on the brands we support and information on franchising. Thanks again for tuning in.